Caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant naturally found in plants such as coffee beans, tea leaves, and cacao. For centuries, people around the world have consumed it through drinks like coffee and tea to stay alert during long hours of work or study. In the brain, caffeine blocks a chemical that normally makes people feel tired, which is why it can increase wakefulness and concentration. Because it is so common in everyday beverages, it has become the most widely used psychoactive substance in the world. While moderate use is generally considered safe for most adults, large amounts can lead to restlessness, faster heart rate, and difficulty sleeping. Nicotine. Nicotine is a stimulant chemical found naturally in tobacco plants. It became widely used through products such as cigarettes, cigars, and more recently electronic vaping devices. When nicotine enters the body, it stimulates the release of certain brain chemicals linked to pleasure and focus. This quick effect is one reason it can become strongly habit-forming. Tobacco use spread globally over centuries through trade and colonization, eventually becoming a major public health concern. Today, many countries regulate tobacco products because long-term use is closely linked to serious diseases affecting the lungs, heart, and blood vessels. Alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant that slows activity in the brain and nervous system. It is produced through fermentation, a process where yeast converts sugars from grains or fruits into ethanol. Humans have been making alcoholic drinks such as beer and wine for thousands of years, often as part of social gatherings, celebrations, and cultural traditions. In small amounts, alcohol may create feelings of relaxation and reduced inhibition. As the amount increases, however, it begins to impair coordination, judgment, and reaction time. Because of these effects, most societies regulate alcohol consumption through age limits and other laws. Cannabis. Cannabis comes from the cannabis plant and contains compounds that affect the brain, the most well-known being THC. These compounds interact with receptors in the nervous system that influence mood, perception, and memory. Cannabis has been used for thousands of years in different parts of the world for medicine, ritual, and recreation. In recent decades, laws around cannabis have changed in several countries and regions, allowing certain forms of medical or recreational use. At the same time, scientists continue studying both its potential medical benefits and its possible long-term effects on the brain and body. Cocaine. Cocaine is a powerful stimulant derived from the leaves of the coca plant, which grows mainly in South America. For centuries, indigenous communities chewed coca leaves to reduce fatigue and hunger during long periods of work at high altitudes. In its refined form, cocaine acts much more strongly on the brain, producing intense but short-lived feelings of energy and confidence. The drug affects brain chemicals that control reward and motivation, which contributes to its high potential for addiction. Because of the serious health risks linked to its misuse, most countries strictly regulate or prohibit its non-medical use. MDMA. MDMA is a synthetic substance that influences mood, energy, and emotional perception. It was first created in the early 20th century during pharmaceutical research. The drug affects the levels of certain brain chemicals involved in mood and social connection, which can lead to feelings of closeness and emotional openness. For a period of time, it became associated with nightlife and dance culture. In recent years, scientists have also studied MDMA in carefully controlled clinical settings to explore possible uses in psychotherapy research. Outside medical supervision, however, its effects can carry risks such as dehydration, overheating, and strain on the body. LSD. LSD is a hallucinogenic substance first synthesized in the 1930s from a compound found in a fungus that grows on rye grain. It became widely known during the cultural movements of the 1960s because of its powerful effects on perception and consciousness. People who take LSD may experience visual distortions, unusual thought patterns, and a changed sense of time. These effects come from the way the substance interacts with certain serotonin receptors in the brain. Because its psychological effects can be intense and unpredictable, LSD remains tightly regulated in most countries. Ketamine. Ketamine is a dissociative drug originally developed as an anesthetic for medical and veterinary use. In hospitals, it is valued for its ability to provide pain relief and sedation while allowing patients to continue breathing normally. The drug works by altering signals in the brain that process pain and awareness. At certain doses, it can create a sense of detachment from surroundings or from one's own body. In recent years, researchers have also explored carefully controlled medical uses of ketamine for certain mental health treatments. Outside medical settings, however, it can cause confusion and impaired coordination. Opioids. Opioids are drugs primarily used to treat moderate to severe pain. Many are derived from the opium poppy plant, while others are produced synthetically in laboratories to work in similar ways. Medicines such as morphine, codeine, and oxycodone are commonly used in hospitals to manage pain after injury or surgery. These drugs bind to specific receptors in the brain and spinal cord that reduce the perception of pain. While they can be extremely effective when used medically, they also carry a strong risk of dependence if misused. For this reason, opioid use has become an important public health issue in many parts of the world. Methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is a powerful synthetic stimulant that strongly increases activity in the brain and body. It was first developed in the early 20th century and at times was used medically for certain conditions such as severe attention disorders. The drug can produce intense feelings of energy, alertness, and confidence that last much longer than many other stimulants. Over time, repeated use can place heavy strain on the heart, brain, and nervous system. Because of its high potential for harm and addiction, methamphetamine is strictly controlled in most countries. Psilocybin. Psilocybin is a naturally occurring compound found in certain species of mushrooms. These mushrooms have been used for centuries in some traditional ceremonies, particularly in parts of Central and South America. When consumed, psilocybin is converted in the body into another compound that alters perception, mood, and thought patterns. People may experience vivid sensory changes and shifts in how they interpret their surroundings. Modern researchers have shown interest in studying psilocybin in controlled settings to better understand how it affects the brain. Due to its strong psychological effects, it remains regulated in many regions. Benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepines are a group of prescription medications commonly used to treat anxiety, panic disorders, and severe insomnia. Drugs such as diazepam and alprazolam work by calming activity in the brain, helping reduce tension and promote relaxation. These medications became widely used in the second half of the 20th century because they act quickly and can be effective when used under medical supervision. Doctors usually prescribe them carefully and often for limited periods, since the body can develop dependence with prolonged use.